Esselamu Aleyküm ve Rahmetullahi ve Berekatühü. Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters, friends of my life, friends of my heart, I thank and praise Allah Ta'ala countless times that one more time we are all together at another discourse to talk about Allah Ta'ala.
sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
Teala'ya çok hamd etmemiz, şükretmemiz gerekir ki
we need to thank and praise Allah so much
bizleri insan olarak yarattı.
simply because Almighty created us as human beings.
Sadece bir tek mahluk,
Only one creature in the universe, a human,
ruhundan
has the characteristic to have the Spirit of Allah as Allah blown into him from His own.
doğar doğmaz Allah Teala tarafından
As soon as every individual is born, Allah blows into them a spirit.
doğar doğmaz
As soon as we are born, aside from our physical body and soul,
Allah'ın ruhu ile teçhiz
we are also given Spirit of Allah.
cihazlanırlar.
They are facilitated with the Spirit.
Sadece insanlara nasip olan
Spirit of Allah
Allah'ın bir büyük nimeti.
is a great blessing of Allah which is only given to human beings.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
olan ilişkilerinizin muhtevasına baktığımız zaman
when we take a look at our relations with Allah,
neden ibaret olduğunu
we realize that they are composed of submissions.
önce Tevrat'la
First with Torah, then with Bible,
Kur'an-ı Kerim'le
and then with Quran.
bütün insanlara ruhlarını ve içlerini
Allah Ta'ala commanded all people to submit their spirits, physical bodies, souls, and free wills to Allah.
teslim etmelerini farz kılmıştır.
That's an obligation of Allah upon every individual.
İnsanla Allah arasındaki ilişkiler
Relationship between human beings and Allah are
4 safha.
taking place in 7 stages, and 4 out of these are submissions. Wishing to reach Allah, that is the first stage.
Mürşide tabiye.
Pledge of allegiance to a murshid, religious guide, is the second stage. What happens when we take a pledge?
Allah'a ulaşmak üzere
The spirit leaves the physical body in order to return back to Allah.
eğer gerçek bir mürşide hacet namazını kılarak Allah Teala'ya sormuşsak
If we perform necessity prayer and ask Allah about a true murshid and found him and
o mürşide
took a pledge of allegiance to him,
ruhumuz mutlaka
at that moment, spirit certainly leaves the physical body.
ne yapar? Allah'a doğru yola çıkmış olan kafile.
And it joins the group of spirits that are on their way to Allah.
Bu ruhlar kafilesi 7 tane gök katını aşacak.
This group of spirits will go through 7 of the heavens, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and 7th of the heavens, one at a time.
Bu 7-8 aylık bir zaman devresine ifade eder.
And that takes place within 7 to 8 months of a life frame.
7. gök katında
At the 7th of the heavens,
7 tane alim
it will be going through 7 worlds from left to right.
7. alemin sonunda
And at the end of the 7th world,
zikrini tamamlayacak.
it will complete its zikr within the zikr cells, and from there, with a vertical journey from Sidratul Muntaha, it will ascend
Birliğinde olan Allah'ın zatına.
and will reach Allah, that is at Illin.
Allah'ın zatı üfürdüğü ruhu geriye istiyor.
Allah Ta'ala wants the spirit that He blown into every individual back.
Bütün insanları başka bütün mahlukattan ayıran en önemli özellik
The most important characteristic that separates human beings from all other creatures is to have a spirit as Allah blows into every individual during their birth.
bebek doğsa
If there are 10,000 babies are being born at a time, Allah Ta'ala certainly blows into each and every baby from His Spirit. Allah have that power. That is Allah,
Yaratandır.
the Creator,
Yarattıklarını hıfzeden, muhafaza edendir.
the one who protects that He created.
Ve en çok sevdiği mahluk da insandır.
And Allah Ta'ala loves the human beings as His most beloved creatures.
İnsan adı verilen bir tek mahlukuna ruh vermiştir.
Allah Ta'ala had given spirit only
Allah onu
to the creatures called human beings, giving that privilege to them.
bütün insanlar Allah'ın ruhuna ehil olabilecek bir hüviyetle yaratılmışlardır.
Every human being is created with the
Vasıfla
privilege
yaratılmışlardır.
to have that spirit.
Ve de bir emanet olan ruhu
And the spirit which is given as a trust
yola çıkarmak
to put that onto its path to return back to Allah is a duty for every individual.
bu olaysa bir mürşide mutlaka tabi.
And this concept certainly requires a pledge of allegiance to a religious guide, a murshid. My dear brothers and sisters, friends of my life, friends of my heart,
Özellikle henüz bizim kardeşimiz
especially
olmayan büyük kitle
those majority of the people who are not our brothers and sisters yet,
Allah'a ulaşmayı
you shall know that unless one makes the wish to reach Allah, path to heaven wouldn't open to anyone.
birinci kat cennet Allah'a ulaşmayı dileyenlerin
First,
duasıdır.
heaven is for those who are wishing to reach Allah before death.
Kişi hacet namazını kılacaktır.
Then the individual will perform necessary prayer, Salatul Hajj, and ask a murshid, religious guide from Allah,
Mürşide ulaşacaktır.
and will find the murshid that Allah shows to him and will take a pledge of allegiance to him directly.
El öpüp
The individual will kiss the hand of the murshid
Allah Teala'nın kendisine
and will be ready to send the spirit back to Allah.
Allah'ın bir insana ruh üfürmesi
Allah automatically blows a spirit into every individual, but every individual wouldn't make the wish to reach Allah.
kişiye Allah
The individual who makes the wish to reach Allah, Allah certainly shows the murshid to that individual.
Allah'a ulaşmışsa
If the individual truly makes the wish to reach Allah from the heart and willing to find a murshid, then Allah will certainly show a murshid to that individual.
ve de kişi o mürşide ulaşıp tövbe etmelidir.
And the individual needs to take a pledge and repent before that very murshid.
Kimsenin bir itiraz hakkı
Nobody can argue with Allah's selection of a murshid.
meşrebine göre
Based on personality of every individual, Allah Ta'ala certainly finds the most suitable murshid for that individual.
sevgili kardeşlerim
My dear brothers and sisters,
ben giderim canımın istediğine
they are all murshids. I can take a pledge of allegiance to anyone that I wish. Some people may say that.
onların tercihidir.
That's their preference.
Bir olaydır.
That's beyond our control.
Biz Allah'ın bize söylettiklerini söyleyebiliriz.
I can only say what Allah makes me say.
Ve Allah'ın söylettiklerine baktığımız zaman
And when we take a look at what Allah states,
namazını kılarak Allah'tan sorulması
murshid needs to be asked from Allah. And we see that as a
bu
fact.
bir mutlak emirdir.
That is a clear command of Allah.
Ve Allah'ın yolunda keyfi davranışlarda
Nobody can be picky and choose their own things on the path of Allah.
Allah'ın emirlerini aynen tatbik etmek mecburiyetindeyiz.
We have to fulfill the commands of Allah exactly the way they are.
Namazını kılarak benden soracaksınız diyorsa,
If Allah Ta'ala says you have to perform necessity prayer and ask a murshid from me, then we have to fulfill that.
akşam boy abdesti alırız.
At night, we take a total body ablution.
Ondan sonra
After midnight,
birinci hacet namazına niyet ederiz.
first we intend for Salatul Hajj. At the first rak'ah,
İkinci rekat,
Fatiha, 3 ayat al-kursis. At the second one, Fatiha, Ihlas, Falak, Nas.
dördüncü rekatta Fatiha,
At the third and fourth, after Fatiha, again,
Felak, Nas.
Ihlas, Falak, Nas.
Gene Fatiha, İhlas, Felak, Nas okuruz ve Allah Teala'dan mürşidimizi sorarız.
And we ask our murshid, religious guide, directly from Allah as we pray to Allah at the end of the prayer.
Mürşidi sormak söz konusudur. O vardır. Hacet namazı başka istikametlerde de kullanılır mı? Elbette kullanılır.
Can we use Salatul Hajj for other purposes? Yes, indeed.
Bir haceti varsa hiç çekinmeden
Whoever has any intentions, they can ask Allah without any problems. My dear brothers and sisters,
ben
to state, I don't deserve this,
doğru değil,
is not the right way.
neye layık olduğunu biz insanlar bilmeyiz.
As human beings, we do not know what we are worthy of, but Allah does.
Allah'ın emri ne?
Then what is the command of Allah?
Allah'a ruhunu ulaştırması.
Everyone to render their spirits back to Allah before death.
Teslimi,
Then to submit their physical bodies. It doesn't reach Allah, but it submits to Allah. Then submission of
olmak,
soul, then becoming a muhlis one, pure one. Then submission of free will.
4 tane teslim söz konusu.
As we see, there are 4 submissions. Submission of spirit, physical body, soul, and free will to Allah.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
biz bunları sizlere anlatmaya başladığımız zaman
once I started explaining these to you,
bunların hiçbirisi
none of these were known by other people.
olmuyordu. İnsanlar dinlerini çoktan unutmuşlar.
People had forgotten their religion way earlier.
7 safadan ve bu 7 safanın içindeki 4 tane teslimden oluştuğu insanlar tarafından çok
People have forgotten that Islam was made out of 7 stages with 4 submissions.
şartına endekslenmiş.
People who thought they were fulfilling religion were only fulfilling 5 pillars of Islam, performing prayers, fasting, giving alms, going pilgrimage, and shahada.
O insanlar
They were saying that if you fulfill these,
girerler.
you go to heaven.
Tertip
Well,
cehenneme gireceklerdir önce.
first, of course, they will go to hell and will be punished because of their sins, but after that they will leave hell and go into heaven, they would say.
Evvela bunu belirtmeliyiz ki
First of all, we need to make it clear that
önce cehenneme
in the
girecekler.
Quran there is no such thing as going to hell first to be punished a little bit and then leaving hell and going into heaven.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
8.000
I have a commentary of the Quran that is 8,536 pages long in 19 volumes.
tekrar ediyorum.
Let me repeat,
1500
8,536 pages long
19 yıl.
in 19 volumes.
Bu Kur'an-ı Kerim tefsirinde
Within this commentary of the Quran,
biz bütün ayetleri devreye aldık.
I indicated every verse,
Muhtevada görev aldılar.
and many brothers and sisters were commissioned in this project, and they have fulfilled their responsibilities.
Ortaya Türkiye'de kelime kelime evvela o ayetteki
And that is the only commentary in Turkey that gives word by word explanation.
o ayetin manasını
After the word meanings, it also gives the meaning of the verse.
Kur'an tefsiri ortaya çıktı.
That is the commentary of the Quran that we have. 8,536 pages long.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
hayatımızı Allah'ın hizmetine adadık.
I have dedicated my life to servicing Allah and myself.
Rahatsız kölesiyiz.
I'm His slave without freedom.
Verdiği her görevi en güzel standartlarda ve
And I fulfill every command of His in its perfection. And the most important part of this is I fulfill that with His help.
biz onun tasarrufundayız.
I'm within His control.
Bu kelime
This word, tasarruf, is usually misinterpreted and misunderstood.
tasarrufu para tasarruf etmek gibi
People may consider tasarruf as saving money.
olan kesimini saklayıp geri kalanını
In other words, saving some part of the money and using the other part, and they consider tasarruf to be savings.
tasavvufta
Yet within Sufism, tasarruf
Allah'ın %100
means
olmak demek.
to be within command of Allah 100%.
Her şeyi Allah'ın yaptırdığı
To be under tasarruf of Allah is
ulaşmak.
to be at the point where you do everything as Allah have you do it.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
Allah Teala önce ruhu teslim alır.
first Allah Ta'ala takes over spirit, then physical body.
Allah Teala'nın ruhu teslim aldığı noktada
At the point Allah takes over spirit,
%51 nurlarla dolu.
your soul's heart is filled with 51% of glories.
Daha üst seviyede alır.
Then Allah takes over your physical body. You have more than 81% glories in your soul's heart.
Sonra daimi zikre ulaşırsınız.
Then you get to continue zikr,
Alır.
and Allah takes over your soul. And at the end,
İradenizi de
Allah also takes over your free will.
böylece ruhun, nefsin, yani fizik vücudun ve iradenin teslim edildiği
In this regard, you submit your spirit, physical body, soul, and free will to Allah within the series of submissions.
Allah Teala hepsini teslim alacaktır.
Allah Ta'ala will take over each and every one of them.
En kolay teslim
The simplest submission is the submission of spirit,
üzerine almayı
because Allah Ta'ala takes that as a duty upon Himself,
ederse
saying that whoever wishes to render the spirit back to me, they do not deliver their spirit to me, I deliver that to myself.
bunu kendisine görev edilmiş.
Allah takes that as a duty upon Himself to be a favor to every individual.
Ulaşmayı dilerse
Whoever makes the wish to reach Allah,
bir ifade.
that is the first
Allah ruhunu teslim
concept.
ederse
Or whoever wishes to render the spirit back to Allah before death, this is the second concept. Both of them are exactly the same thing.
ruhtur.
Because what you submit is the spirit, which is the spirit that belongs to Allah,
Dönmesi.
and it has to return back to Allah.
Öyleyse bizim kardeşimiz olmak istikametinde bir gayetin sahibi olacak olan kişi şunu bilecektir ki
Individuals who are willing to become our brother or sister needs to know that
teslimi
this dargah
Allah'tan aldığı emirlerle gerçekleştirir.
fulfills submission to Allah through the commands we directly receive from Allah.
Teslimi her tabi olan insan için mutlaka gerçekleşir.
Submission of spirit certainly takes place in this place for those who takes a pledge of allegiance.
Mesela bütün insanları kurtarmak ister.
Allah Ta'ala is willing to save all people.
Bilmediği, akıl derdiremediği temel husus
And the basic concept that people do not know and they cannot even think of,
nasıl güç
which is very difficult to believe how easy it is to be saved of hellfire.
bir insan
My dear brothers and sisters, imagine an individual
bir ömrü geçirmiş Allah'a ulaşmak
spent a life without making the wish to reach Allah,
eda etmemiş.
and he didn't do anything else either.
5 şartını gerçekleştirirsen yani namaz kılarsan
But they told him that, like, if you fulfill 5 pillars of Islam, in other words, if you pray, fast, give alms, go to pilgrimage, and say Shahada, these are the 5 pillars of Islam,
hafif tertip cehennemde kavrulursun.
then you go to hell a little bit and get fired a little bit, then you leave hell and certainly go into heaven.
Bu söylediklerimizin, bu sizlere anlatılan masalların hiçbirisi doğru değil
None of these tales are true, my dear brothers and sisters.
kardeşlerim. Hiç kimse önce cehenneme girip cehennemden çıkıp cennete giremez.
Nobody can go to hell to be punished and punished a little bit and go to heaven after that. That is not the case. There are total of 64 verses indicate that those who go to hell to be punished, that they cannot leave hell anymore.
Ayet-i kerimeleri merak eden varsa
If you are curious about the verses, you can log on to our webpage and you can find out.
bizim söylediklerimiz başka din öğreticilerinin söylediklerine benzemez.
My statements are nothing to do with the statements of other clergy.
Aynı şeydedir.
Everything that I say is certainly based on the Quran.
Ayet-i kerimeyle ifade edilir.
Each and every one of them is related to a verse.
Hiçbir şey söylemedik şimdiye kadar.
And I haven't mentioned anything else aside from the Quran, and I wouldn't from now on either.
Ama o 19 ciltlik 8536 sayfalık Kur'an tefsirimiz
But my commentary of the Quran, which is 8,536 pages, is
Teala'nın
a calling for the entire world. Commentary of the Quran that Allah taught me.
ilk defa o Kur'an'da innel hüda hüdallah ile
First time, Innal Huda Hudallah and Inna Hudallahi Huwal Huda verses were explained in that commentary.
doğru tefsiri verilmiştir.
The true commentary of those two verses are in that commentary, because I learned religion from Allah.
Böyle olmayanların Kur'an tefsirine baktığınız zaman
For people who are not like that, if you take a look at their commentary,
Kur'anlarda
in all other commentaries aside from mine, these two verses,
Ali İmran
verse 1 is Ali Imran 783 and Baqarah 120.
diğeri birisi innel
One states, Innal Huda Hudallah, Inna, verily,
el hüda
Al Huda, Hidayah,
hüdallah
Hudallah
Allah'a
is reaching Allah.
İkincisi
The second one is, Inna Hudallahi Huwal Huda. Inna, verily, Hudallahi, reaching Allah, Huwa, that is, Al Huda, Hidayah.
innel hüda hüdallah
Innal Huda Hudallah is the first one. Inna Hudallahi Huwal Huda is the second one. The explanation of these two verses in all other commentaries of the Quran
inanılmayacak olan bir standart taşır.
is incredibly wrong,
İnsanın ruhu vücudundan ayrılırsa insan ölür.
because they think that
Sıra
we will die if our spirit leaves our physical body.
üzerinde
People who believe in such nonsense,
bu iki ayeti kerimeyi
they totally hinder these two verses in their commentaries,
doğru olur şeklinde
as they interpreted Hidayah as the right path.
din konusunda iddia sahipleri de
And those who claim to be authorities in religion are included in this great mistake.
da
Aside from my commentary of the Quran,
kerimde
no other commentary gives the true meaning of it.
bu iki ayetin doğru Türkçesi yer almamış.
The true interpretation of these two verses are only in my commentary of the Quran. Ali Imran 175 and Baqarah 120. My dear brothers and sisters, unfortunately that is the case. And within that context, everything that I explained to you is what Allah taught me, and I'm teaching you. I had no religion in the past. I was a communist during my youth. Communism was very popular then. Then I've learned the truth. Then it became obvious how people were deceived, including myself. And I became a member of Tasawwuf, Sufism. After asking my Murshid from Allah, I took a pledge of allegiance to my Murshid. Then I came to this point. My dear brothers and sisters, there is only one commentary of the Quran in this world, that is 8,536 pages in 19 volumes, and that is mine. At this task, many of our brothers and sisters took responsibility and they worked very hard. And we looked into everything in simplest detail along with our brothers and sisters. And we came up with a commentary of the Quran that we are certain of everything. And what does that mean? Because after completion of every verse, I certainly asked Allah. And we concluded everything with confirmation. Therefore, if you take a look at every commentary of the Quran in Turkey, you cannot find the true meaning of these two verses, Innal huda hudallah and Inna hudallahi huvel huda. Because these people who didn't learn their religion directly from Allah, but learned through other people, they continued with the great error. Inna, verily, al-huda, hidayah, hudallah, is reaching Allah. Inna, verily, al-huda, hidayah, hudallah, reaching Allah. Innal huda hudallah and inna hudallahi huvel huda. Even though they are mentioned in different ways, they mean exactly the same thing. Reaching Allah, that is hidayah, and hidayah is human spirits returning back to Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, spirit may leave the physical body anytime it wishes, and nobody can even feel that. And it returns back to the physical body anytime it wishes, and again, nobody can feel that either. Individual whose spirit leaves to return back to Allah, those people cannot feel that either. That is not a possibility. But Allah Ta'ala doesn't only command the submission of spirit. Individual who makes the wish to reach Allah and dies after that certainly entitles the individual to first heaven. After that comes pledge of allegiance to a murshid. The individual will be asking to find a murshid willing for that. and will certainly perform necessity prayer and ask from Allah about his or her murshid. Once he asks, he will certainly see his murshid and love his murshid. Pledge of allegiance is the second stage. Along with pledge of allegiance, spirit will leave the physical body, will be on its path towards Allah, along with other spirits, will go through 7 of the heavens one at a time. And within 7 to 8 months, it will go through 7 worlds at the 7th of the heavens, and it will reach Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, I went through these, and Allah Ta'ala granted upon me to have them experience more than 100,000 people. They are the ones who reached Hidayah. To reach Hidayah doesn't mean to become a murshid, to be a religious guide. To reach Hidayah is Hidayah of spirit, Hidayah of physical body, Hidayah of soul, and Hidayah of free will. There are 4 stages of Hidayah. Whoever renders the spirit back to Allah, they are the owners of first Hidayah. Whoever even goes beyond that and submits physical body to Allah as well, that is the second Hidayah. After submission of physical body, whoever can submit soul to Allah, that is the third Hidayah. Whoever also can submit free will to Allah, that is the fourth Hidayah. These 4 submissions doesn't take place in 4 stages, but 7. Everything starts with a wish. First stage is making the wish to reach Allah, to make the wish to render the spirit back to Allah before death. My dear brothers and sisters, you cannot find what I'm explaining to you in any other of the places. Let me express that one more time. I didn't learn these from my murshid. I learned these from Allah. If there are suspicions regarding myself, to prove that is very easy. You have to perform necessity prayer, Salatul Hajj, and ask from Allah. Once you ask, then you will see what happens. You will see if what I'm stating is true or your assumptions. My dear brothers and sisters, you cannot be on the path of Allah with assumptions. But there is a clear concept, as Allah indicates, whomever wishes to reach me, I deliver them to myself. That's what Allah Ta'ala states. As human beings, what we need to do is to make a wish, saying that, Almighty Allah, I'm willing to render my spirit back to you. I'm willing to become a saint of yours as well. One of your saints who sent the spirit back to you. In Arabic, as you know, Veli is singular and Evliya is plural. Evliya means Veli in plural. Yet, in Turkish, we use Evliya as a singular form, and everybody uses it that way. They also say Evliya in plural. That is a wrong statement actually in grammar. Evliya is already plural of Veli, friend of Allah. So it is double plural to say Evliya in plural. My dear brothers and sisters, on the path of Allah, everything is so wonderful. You get closer to Allah as you love Him more. Then your love becomes falling in love, and that goes even beyond, and you admire Allah. someone who admires Allah is talking to you, and each of these stages referring to a different level. My dear brothers and sisters, in your relations with Allah, take a careful look at Allah's purposes for you. Purposes are to submit your spirit, 1, to submit your physical body, 2, to submit your soul, 3, and to submit your free will to Allah. That's the 4th one. Are you talking about happiness? At each and every one of these steps, you go through a higher level of happiness. The last submission is the submission of free will. With submission of free will, you get to the peak of happiness and joy. Then you will be really sad why you wasted many of years earlier, as I did. My dear brothers and sisters, everything is so wonderful. As Allah designed everything so perfectly that everything is wonderful. All beautiful notions are the blessings of Allah that Allah gave to human beings, and happiness and joy is one of those blessings. Individual who submitted spirit to Allah has 51% of happiness. Those who submitted physical body, their experience is 80%. Those who submit their soul, their happiness is 100%. One is the owner of little zikr, and the other one is owner of much zikr, and the other one is the owner of continuous zikr. Much zikr is if it is more than half of the day, doing 50%. Less zikr, little bit of zikr is less than half a day. Since human beings are the creations of Allah, since they are creatures, then they have to fulfill the commands of Allah that Allah set forth, and they should live for that. As they fulfill these, then they will go through the greatest joy and happiness. As they increase their submission in their order of spirit, physical body, soul, and free will, their happiness and joy will also increase respectfully. Submission of free will requires 100% glories in the soul's heart. Yet initially the soul's heart was 100% full of vices. The concept of zikr, repeating name of Allah, eliminates vices out of the soul's heart. Vices will be replaced with glories. Glories of Allah will be filling the heart of that individual. Continuous zikr shows that there are 100% glories in that soul's heart. My dear brothers and sisters, happiness and joy is infinite for each and every one of you. If you are for Allah, then know that that starts with a simple wish, making the wish to reach Allah. If you wish, then Allah will give you the love of Murshid. Then you will perform necessity prayer. If you cannot see the first time, then don't worry, do that again. If you are truly willing to reach Allah and willing to render your spirit back to Allah before that, then it is not possible Allah not to show you. Whichever the Murshid is shown, you have to find Him. Let me reiterate. I haven't mentioned anyone to find me ever.
herkese Allah Teala mürşidini hacet namazını kıldığı zaman mutlaka
Allah certainly shows the murshid to everyone who are wishing to reach Allah as they perform necessity prayer.
ona bizi sorarsa
If the individual finds a murshid and asks me to that individual, and if the murshid asks me from Allah,
gerçek kimliğimiz
then my true identity will be obvious. I am the Imam of this era.
bu konuda tereddütlenenlerin hepsine
To those who are suspicious of this, the clear command of Allah to them is to perform necessity prayer and ask Allah.
öyleyse Allah ile olan ilişkiler sizleri mutluluğun
Then relations with Allah will get you to the peak of happiness and joy, as that is the system of Allah.
Allah'a
The path of happiness is through getting closer to Allah,
devam eden bir müessesedir.
as it is an ongoing process.
Teslim edersiniz.
First you submit your spirit, then your physical body, then your soul, then finally your free will to Allah.
Ve Allah'ın yolunda bütün güzellikleri yaşarsınız.
And you go through all beautiful notions on the path of Allah. Then don't forget what I have stated earlier.
Çok seviyoruz.
I love you all very, very much, dear audience,
Kardeşlerim,
my dear brothers and sisters, friends of my life.
Allah hepinizden
May Allah bless you all.
razı
I leave your presence
sizlere
as I thank and praise Allah because I was able to deliver you the sign of happiness,
seni ulaştırabilecek
delivering the torch of happiness and joy.
şükrederek sözlerimizi tamamlıyoruz. Esselamu aleyküm ve rahmetullahi ve berekatühü. El Fatiha ve as-salavat.